Ch.20. The Storm. Third POV. If you ask any scholar for information about the fifth Blight, they may direct you to A Dwarf's Journey Through Magic Volume .1 Feet by Archmagi Dagna, His Majesty Caelan Terran's retelling in his epic, Adventures of the Fifth Blight, or Holy Cleric Aelakinas, The Maker and You, if you want a slight romanced version of the Fifth Blight. For a more factual retelling, you would be led to the works of Lady Telsa, The Fifth Blight, or Sorcerer Supreme Neria Serranas, Surviving the Fifth Blight. But no matter what book you read or veteran you speak to, they could have never put words to the feeling of the Battle of Denerim. Nick POV. That's a lot of dark spawn, I grunted. Be happy, you only have to see them, Theron grunted, they feel disgusting, like a living plague. Standing on the western ramparts, Theron and I watched the thousands of dark spawn doing a piss-poor job of hiding at the tree line about 3,000 feet away. Sounds gross, I muttered. He shook his head, feels gross, sounds worse. There's a constant buzzing and broken song that makes me sick to my stomach. Archdemon. More likely than not, he huffed. What's she waiting for? Dusk. The storm may help dark spawn move around in the daytime better, but they're still stronger at night, he answered. You would think the Archdemon would try and starve us out. No, we have the sea at our backs allowing us access to resupplies. She will need to block us off from that first if she wants to starve us. I hate waiting, Theron, Ava, and I have been out here since 12 just waiting for the battle to begin. It was 5 in the afternoon, and with spring just beginning, the night should arrive around 6. Every soldier was on high alert. I built the wall to last. Nothing short of the Archdemon was going to scratch it. Unfortunately for us, there was an Archdemon out there. Movement, Ava called out, looking out to the forest with a pair of binoculars. She was in her full hero outfit, Andrel's bow strapped to her back, a dozen throwing blades on her waist, a spring-action shield strapped to her left arm, and the handle to an arcane blade on her hip, all master-crafted and given runes. A small group of what seemed like 8 genlocks were rushing the wall. Ya got them? I asked. Please, aiming her bow, she pulled back the golden string, summoning a bolt of light, smite, and the arrow zoomed, closing distance at what seemed to be the speed of light, striking the leading genlock before ricocheting to the one behind him and so on before sticking into the last one's head, and as if they were puppets with their strings cut, they dropped to the floor. Your party member Ava Tabriz has killed 8 genlocks. Reward, 840 express, 1 gold 20 silver, 1 dark spawn dagger, 1 pair of ancient dwarven braces, and 1 ancient dwarven shield. XP and currency are split 25 ways, and all items are placed in your inventory. Nice shot, I complimented. I think that must have been some kind of world record. I've been getting these notifications throughout the day. Makes it easy knowing how much mana I need to pull it off. I couldn't tell if she was smirking, but I could feel it. That and a godly bow, I teased. Raven shrugged, it helps. They're getting bolder, Theron stated. That was the 6th party that tested our section. What about the others? I asked. About the same. Think they're hungry? Raven asked. Maybe. Dark spawn don't carry provisions, they just eat everything that comes within arm's reach, Theron answered, looking out to the tree line. I'm unsure what he was looking at, but my observation lit everything past the tree line with a red hue, indicating danger and enemies, but not a single glimpse of gold indicating the Archdemon. I could just dash up until I spotted it, but that would probably make me a target, and every satellite I used to map the area didn't point out the corrupted dragon, but that didn't mean I didn't try. An up-to-date battlefield map was invaluable. A soft ringing noise went off next to my ear and a picture of Lina came up in my vision. This is command, we have visual on chicken, and it's moving. I looked over to Theron, who nodded, moving to his griffin. Raven and I moved to our positions. Caelan POV. So, this is it. Flying over the troops on my flaming Mabari, I could see my soldiers' nervousness. It didn't matter what weapons we had or how much armor they had to protect them. We were fighting monsters from myth. And I failed them once before. Men, my roar cut through the ranks, having them look up at me. Nick's voice amplifier really did its job. We stand on the brink of battle. We face an enemy unlike any we have ever encountered in 400 years. An enemy of legend, myth, and darkness. But we are not afraid. For we are the defenders of Ferelden, the protectors of our people. We will not let this evil force triumph. I looked out past the southern ramparts to the raving mass of dark spawn. We have trained for this moment, I continued. We have honed our skills, our strength, our courage. And now, we will put him to the test. We will fight with all our might, with all our heart. We will not falter. We will not retreat. We will stand our ground, and we will emerge victorious. I may not be able to see their faces, but their battle groups seemed to straighten and shields rose slightly. Remember, my voice softened, but still carried. We fight not just for ourselves, but for our families, our friends, our homes. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. We fight for the light, against the darkness. I unsheathed Damocles and raised it over my head. Who's with me? The soldiers roared, stomping their feet, and drumming their shields. Trebuchets. I pointed my sword out to the dark spawn horde. Fire. At my order large steel orbs flew over the ramparts, landing deep into dark spawn lines, killing a few if the notifications meant anything. And before the dark spawn knew what was happening, the steel orbs morphed into 8-foot golems that went wild, killing anything around them. Nick called them the meat grinders. Their one job was to march from one end of the dark spawn horde to the other as many times as possible, killing every dark spawn within reach. A booming roar ripped apart any silence remaining as the archdemon came into view. It somehow looked bigger than before, but kept its monstrous form, looking like a dragon made of raving flesh. Its presence launched the dark spawn into a frenzy and they ran forward. They got halfway to the wall before they fell into the 30-foot pit Nick put around the wall. It's a classic because it works, he joked. The dark spawn started testing the hollow ground, rounding to the chokehold in front of the southern gate. As they got closer, the mage unleashed balls of fire, lighting him ablaze. It didn't take long for the first dark spawn to reach the gate and slam pathetically against the triple reinforced steel gates. Was it overkill? A bit. Was I upset? Not even a little. With any luck, we wouldn't need to do much. The archdemon flew overhead, dodging heavy bolts from the crossbows on the rampart. Before it could turn and attack the soldiers, a pair of griffins came flying from the ramparts, shooting firebolts, leading it away from the army and toward the city, and into our ambush. The chicken has come home to roost. I called over the comms. Mother Base, you are free to engage. We hear you, Gold Leader. Stand by for Titanfall. Kalen, Mother Base is at your disposal, but be warned, not only is it my home and best defense, but it's also my greatest weapon, Nick said, looking me right in the eye as he explained Mother Base's greatest weapon. A beam of light, the same color as the daytime sky, came falling far behind enemy lines, and for a moment the world lit up and the clouds parted. And then my Mabari's shield came to life as the noise and shockwave reached me, almost knocking me over. As the light faded and my shield's opacity lowered, I finally saw what remained of the darkspawn's back lines, finding nothing but a 300-foot crater. Anything within 100 feet of the crater burnt to a crisp, and anything 100 feet after that was on fire, and anything 200 feet after that flat on their ass, probably killed from the shockwave. Whoa, Nick wasn't kidding. Gold Leader, this is command. Kyber cannon is down for 15 minutes. We're moving down to release golems and give air cover, Liner called out, as Mother Base came down from the clouds, unloading dozens of steel golems before unleashing firebolts from a distance. Gold Leader, this is Warden Leader. Griffins 1, 2, 3, 4, and I are in hot pursuit of chicken. This is Gold Leader. I hear you loud and clear, Warden Leader. Happy hunting. I let them go as I focused on my own upcoming battle. Orge, cried out a soldier from the ramparts. // Zevran POV. Nick is a lot of things, a bit of an asshole, smug, and a man of endless stamina if we take Sky's word for it. I would call Nick a quality pragmatic. He sees a problem, and he solves the problem the best he can. The men don't have armor. Make them armor that could withstand an ogre stomping on them. Do they need weapons? Best get them holy swords that could slice through a hurlock like a hot knife through room temperature butter. Need super soldiers. Well, ROA. A human vanguard roared, cutting off the head of 3 genlocks at once, followed by their shield bashing a Herlock's head into their chest. Next to them was another recruit unleashing a one-handed lightning bolt into an ogre's face while stabbing into a shriek's chest. A smaller recruit, most likely a dwarf, jumped nearly 3 feet in the air and shoved his sword into the ogre's face. The southern chokehold was working wonders. As the dark spawn pry opened the gates, they were met with large unclimbable walls lining the entrance, with archers and mages raining death from above, uneven terrain, with a shield wall at the end that killed anything stupid enough to charge. The only problem with that is that dark spawn were that stupid. They died in droves, but they just kept coming. Eventually, we had to back up as the dark spawn bodies mounted and soldiers needed to be changed. The vanguard would then step in as the soldiers rotated, and would step back as the soldiers remade the shield wall. "That's 43, Okran huffed. "Oh, that's nice, my height-challenged friend," I teased as I let fly another of my arrows. 52. "Ogres only count as 1. He grunted, swinging his war axe and cutting a Herlock in half. 73, Leliana called out, standing on the wall and rapidly firing into the flood of monsters. "That doesn't count. You can't even see if you killed them," Okran huffed, chopping down on a genlock that got too cocky. We were cut off as a bolt of lightning the size of a druffalo ripped through the dark spawn, leaving a clean gap all the way to the gate. "How much is that?" Neria asked, looking all kinds of smug. "Magic doesn't count either," Okran huffed. "That means I'm winning," Neria laughed. // Theron POV. The archdemon was putting our griffins to the test as it dodged, dipped, dived, ducked, and dodged throughout the city. Alistair and I were grouped together, taking a hard left, trying to cut off the archdemon and lead it toward Fort Draken, where the next part of the ambush was planned out. "Dark Knight, Chicken is heading your way," I called out as the archdemon headed straight for the alienage. "Copy," Raven calmly answered. Pulling up and away, I spotted the golden light of Andrul's bow shining over the massive wall that surrounded the alienage. Divine smite. Just for a moment, the image of a 10-foot woman with beautiful black hair covered in stars appeared, holding a similar bow to Raven, before unleashing a bolt of light that raced to the archdemon only for it to dodge. But that wasn't enough to escape the goddess of the hunt as the bolt twisted and turned at hard 90-degree angles and track it back to the archdemon. Just as it was going to strike, the archdemon lit up and popped a couple dozen feet to the right, dodging the arrow. Andrul's smite flew by almost as if it didn't know what just happened, before taking several turns heading back to the dragon. "I'm losing steam, hold it still." Raven came over the comms. "Copy the Dark Knight, white, black, give that oversized chicken something else to focus on." Aiden called out. Sky and Astral came out of the clouds with the speed and ferocity of a landslide, a fully armored landslide, unleashing a combined fire breath that lit up the night. The archdemon's scream was music to my ears. It didn't last, as the archdemon flew past their flames and unleashed a bolt of lightning that forced the great dragons to break apart. But that didn't stop us from following up with a small barrage of firebolts, but that didn't do much other than annoy it. "Evasive maneuvers," Aiden ordered, as the archdemon turned and started unleashing all kinds of magic, from lightning to ice to fire. A lance of ice bounced off my shields. This was getting dicey. And that was when Sky came back for more, as she came down like a falcon, slamming into its back with her armored claws and tearing off a hunk of flesh. And before it could retaliate, Raven's arrow found its mark on its lower back, exploding into a sphere of light. The archdemon screamed as it fell from the sky. "Stay on it," Aiden ordered, and it was the right call as the archdemon lit up again and began to heal. Blighted Elder High Dragon. Fallen God Erthamiel. Age, unknown. LVL, 100. HP 7670 10,000ths. MP 7583 9,000ths. The Dragon of Beauty, a draconic old god worshipped as the god of beauty in the ancient Tevinter Imperium. Among the ancient Tevinter people, Erthamiel was the fairest and most graceful of the old gods. Her beauty is now a horrid mockery of the being she once was. No god dies easy, she still has a sliver of divine might. Can't be killed by normal means. Nick Walters has used True Strike on Erthamiel. You can now see its weaknesses. Weaknesses. Head. Lower back. Fire. Sunlight. Holy. Madness. She's going to eat you slowly. Mid-fall she twisted catching air and scraped over some rooftops as she flew away from us. I kept close, shooting my griffin, shooting firebolts, keeping her HP from regenerating, turning her head back to see me. I could feel her hatred in her white pupils before she lit up again and popped out of reality. It had to be some kind of fade step, but to move something so big would take an astronomical amount of power. Not even Sky could do that in her dragon form. I guess that's what a sliver of divine might means, a way to counteract mana requirements. Suddenly she appeared behind me, mouth full of lightning. Holy shit. I dodged hard into an alley as a bolt of lightning blew apart a house and the house behind that house, into smithereens, but it seemed like she didn't want to let her elven snack go as she twisted and gave chase. This is Griffin 3, chickens pecking at me. This is Mountain Top, let it down Main Street, Serada ordered. Not hesitating, I juked left into another alley, dodging more of her attacks, before coming out into the marketplace and straight down Denerim's new main street that led straight to Fort Draken. I didn't dare look back as I heard the destruction of shops. Up ahead I spotted a lone dwarf standing in the middle of Main Street. Serada POV. In, out. I allowed my chi and divine magic to travel throughout my body. Theron was flying like a nug out of a dark spawn pit, the archdemon nipping at his heels. In, I slammed my foot forward, and the earth melted around me, reforming into an earthen fist. Burn. Fire bending comes from the breath, not the muscles, Nick called out, sitting on his knees sipping tea, watching me practice. That's nice, but why should I care? I didn't know how to firebend, and stop stealing quotes from that cartoon. First, never. Uncle Iroh taught me how to be an honorable man. Second, you were kinda possessed at the time, but did you know that the magma? Lava, technically we weren't outside the mountain. He scratched his chin, before shaking away the train of thought. We'll debate about it later. The hot liquid rock in Orzammar dried up before you lifted the mountain of traditions that sat on Orzammar's neck. So, from what I understand, lava falls don't just stop. Are you saying I stopped the magma? More than likely, with the stone's help. Magma is just hot liquid rock, and as a rock, you can bend it. Theoretically. Right, and how do you propose I practice this? Can you teach me? I sarcastically asked. No, not yet, but you have help from a greater power, maybe they can help. The earthen fist lit up, morphing into magma, launching right into the archdemon's face. The archdemon roared in pain, flapping wildly, gaining high, trying to escape my molten grip. Mountain Top asking for air pickup, I asked, launching myself into the air after the archdemon. Griffin 2 coming in hot. Naisha answered, coming in with her griffin, snatching me right out of the air, and continued our pursuit. The archdemon lit up again, healing its face. Damn, this thing was persistent. Spear, chicken coming in hot. I see her, Nick called out, she's a bit too high, bring her down a bit. Hold on, Naisha muttered. Taking her advice, I clamped my legs onto the griffin and wrapped my arms around her waist. As she picked up speed, she launched wide shots over the archdemon, forcing it to juke down before turning its head and unleashing a bolt of lightning, forcing us to dodge. But we did our job as Nick launched himself from his hiding spot, with his glowing arcane blade in hand, landing on the archdemon's back, where he proceeded to hack at the monster's wings. The monster started bucking and roaring, quickly slamming into buildings and trying to knock Nick off her back, but Nick was stuck to her like a tick, going hog wild on her wing. Giving another roar, the archdemon lit up and popped out of existence. Sten POV. Together, march. They may not be Bass Cass, but at least they knew how to hold a line and follow orders. We proceeded to perform a forward march, killing everything in front of us 1 foot at a time, getting back to the eastern chokehold. Kadan. Busy, she answered, using her metal limbs, tearing off the head of an ogre and launching it straight at an emissary, disrupting its spell and allowing one of Walter's vanguards to finish it off. What? Make room, I ordered, pointing to the gate. She jumped into the air and performed a thunderwave, launching a large group of dark spawn to the ground, allowing us to move faster and double tapping every enemy on the ground. Red hot, she warned, extending her arm as she unleashed a thin red beam cutting every dark spawn it encountered. Sten, this is command. Kyber cannon is back in play. We will be heading to the eastern back line, Liner called out over the comms. Understood. Give us a countdown. Roger. We hold the line, I ordered, slamming down my large steel shield, locking it in place, and stabbing out at any dark spawn that came my way. 10 seconds. 2 shields locked next to mine, continuing until we had a line of shields. Spearmen used the new wall to stab out at anything that came close. 5. Ogre, one of the soldiers called out. I reached out and grabbed one of the spears next to me and launched it with all the strength my armor could provide, piercing through its chest, followed by the dark spawn behind it, and finally stopping in the head of a hurlock. Firing. Brace, I ordered, as a bright flash lit up over the wall, followed by a loud explosion, and an earthquake that knocked over anyone who wasn't ready for it. Reloading. 15 minutes. Command called out. Walters has created a weapon of untold destruction. If he truly wanted to, he could conquer any land. Being a S.A. Arabas always made him dangerous. The island made him unreachable, but his weapons, they made him untouchable. The coon will not be happy. But to be fair, we got more dark spawn, a soldier pointed out. At the ready, I ordered. At the moment, I would rather have him at my side than at my throat. Nick POV. I smelled colors and saw sound. Before me the universe was read in a language that couldn't exist, and just as quickly as it happened, I snapped back into the material plane. That was weird, I groaned. You have traveled through a celestial rift without taking the proper protection. Gamer's mind has kept you from going mad. It felt like the world was spinning. Hold on, the world was spinning. The goddamned archdemon was trying to spin me off in a crazy death roll. Someone get me off this crazy ride. My fingers were slipping. Shit. I'm a bit of a petty man, so seeing as I'm going down, I might as well take it with me. Weapons mastery plus haki plus enhanced power strike plus backstab plus max street equals 2600 points of severing damage. I sliced off her right wing before letting go. The world was still spinning, but I used my airbending to stabilize myself, allowing me to gently drift down, and watch the archdemon using her only wing to try and soften her landing, but she still came down like a sack of rocks landing in Draken Tower. Oh good, didn't think she'd land there. Spear to white, I need pickup. I called over the comms. It didn't take long for Sky to scoop me out of the air and fly me over to the tower. As we flew over the tower, we spotted the griffins flying over the battle harassing the archdemon, with the wardens jumping in and out of range. Around them were even other wardens. We spread them throughout the city, not sure where she was going to land. I was just happy Duncan and Kalen put dozen up here. A bright light blazed on the tower, courtesy of Ayla, that formed golden chains that locked the archdemon to the tower. White, this is my stop. I called out, not questioning me. Sky let me fall. Let's see if that overgrown lizard can handle this. Mid-fall I equipped my new prime suit, summoned my new sword, and performed an aerial drop. I was cautious doing this again. Flemeth saw it coming a mile away, but she wasn't held down by holy shackles, and because of that, my blade hit home, stabbing through her tail and the roof and nailing her to the ground. Danger. My left arm sprung a shield which I used to block the lightning storm that bared down at me with the force of a literal godly dragon. Outer shield shattered, 0/100th durability. Mid shield shattered, 0/250th durability. Inner shield shattered, 0/500th durability. Prime suit shielding has sustained great damage, 201,000th durability. I trained my shimmering shield skill every time I got, raising it to intermediate, allowing me to make 3 shields, and by pumping MP into them I could enhance their durability, but it still wasn't enough. Prime suit shielding shattered, 0/1000th durability. Prime suit damaged, 5,795 6,000ths. Luckily Aiden was there with the safe, stabbing the dragon in the neck, allowing me the freedom to rush its horns and slam her into the ground, But before Aiden could finish her, the archdemon lit up like a Christmas tree. For a moment I thought she was going to try another celestial jump, but instead she shrunk, escaping my grip. Where once laid a dragon on the brink of death, now stood a woman, easily standing 8 feet and change. She looked like a Resident Evil final boss. Her skin was as pale as a corpse and at the same time had monstrous growths all over her flesh. She didn't have pupils, but I could see the madness and rage in her white eyes. "Nick?" Aiden asked. "No idea," I answered. I didn't know she could do that. I knew dragons could polymorph, but for the archdemon to do the same seemed wrong. Blighted Elder High Dragon. Fallen God Erthamiel. Age, unknown. LVL, 100. HP 2643 10 thousandths. MP 2895 9 thousandths. No god dies easy, she still has a sliver of divine might. Can't be killed by normal means. Weaknesses: head, bleeding, missing tail, neck, arms. Lower back. Heavy damage. Fire. Sunlight. Holy. Madness. Low on divine energy. She's not going to eat you, just kill you. Danger. I swung my fist. Strength contest. Nick versus Erthamiel. She moved so fast. 1 second she was all the way in the middle of the roof, the next she was trying to remove my head. It felt like I was 7 again and button mashing at Street Fighter. Tie. Both fighters retrieve blowback. You have taken 1600 points of bludgeoning damage. Prime Suit mitigated the damage. Prime Suit durability 4195 6 thousandths. Right arm is shattered. Danger. Shit, she was too close and I was too slow. Her follow-up blow knocked me clean off my feet and off the tower. You have taken 2200 points of bludgeoning damage. Prime Suit mitigated the damage. Prime Suit durability 2995 6 thousandths. // Ayla POV. DICCCCK. Nick roared as he was launched off the tower. Slow, Morrigan yelled, slamming her staff onto the ground, creating a huge ward to appear, taking up most of the rooftop. The archdemon turned to Morrigan and started sprinting at her. That was the archdemon movement at a fraction of her regular speed. It didn't matter much as Sky came down with the fury of an angry god, slamming the monster into the roof before transforming into her human form and jumping away from the archdemon, for the first time in ever. Sky was fully armored. She was the embodiment of an unstoppable force. The archdemon lit up with holy power, once again healing herself as she got up. Unleashing another roar, she rushed Sky. I don't know what the Blight is, but to give its user the power to fight a fully armored Sky on an equal footing, madness. Holy armaments, I chanted, lighting up Sky's fist with holy power, along with everyone else. Nick took that moment to dash back on the roof without his prime suit. He took a moment to see what was happening and dashed forward, unleashing a devastating right blow to the archdemon's ribs, giving Sky the opening to unleash her own claw strike across the archdemon's chest. Popping out of existence, the archdemon appeared behind Sky and rushed at Morrigan. Taking a deep breath, I brought the silver horn to my lips and blew for all my worth. For a moment nothing happened. Please don't tell me something went wrong. I lifted face Musha, ready to make the archdemon work for her kill, only for a beam of sunlight to fall from the sky between the archdemon and me, forcing the monster to hiss and back away. As the light faded, a woman standing at 6 feet 2, with long red hair, and beautiful golden armor with white outlines, holding a flaming claymore in one and a huge metal shield in the other, stood before me. Without hesitation, the armored woman's shield bashed the archdemon and chopped off her left arm in one move. Who in the Fade is that? Morrigan yelled. Andrishta, I whispered in awe. So, this was my predecessor. She big. Where the hell do you think you're going? Nick roared, dashing forward, blitzing the archdemon, unleashing another right hook into her solar plexus, giving Sky the chance to grab her and slam her onto Aiden's outstretched sword, impaling her through the chest. Everything went silent before the archdemon exploded into a beam of light. // Kalen POV. Kalen, we need to start pulling back. The Orlesians cavalry is coming back for another run. Loghain called out to my left. With my Mabari on attack mode flying overhead with some of the others flying golems, I was on the ground slicing away at any dark spawn my helmet's IFF was pointing out. Backward march. I ordered the troops to my side and began slowly pulling back. Vanguard, give us space. A few of the vanguards stepped forward and slammed their holy swords into the earth, unleashing a thunder wave, knocking away any dark spawn too close for comfort while causing deep pits in the ground and giving us space. The thundering of hoofs could be heard as the Orlesian chevaliers came bounding in with their fully armored horses, cutting down dark spawn as they galloped past. A storm of fireballs and arrows followed not long after killing any stragglers. There was a light lull in the fighting as more dark spawn had to dig past their fellow monsters at the gates. There really is no end to the damn things, I huffed. Bah, yeah, get used to it, Okran huffed, taking a swig of his canteen. Ugh. He spit out his drink. Who put water in this? Are you really about to get drunk in the middle of a battlefield? Neria asked. Is there a better time? Literally any other time. Leliana counted, shooting a dark spawn as it crawled out of the pit we called the Southern Gate. 153. Where are you getting all those bloody arrows? Bottomless quiver. Nick made it and shoved over 1,000 arrows into it. 154. She explained, shooting another dark spawn between the eyes. How much did that cost ya? He asked, grabbing an axe that someone dropped and throwing it into a charging Genlock's head, dropping it cold. 102. Cost. He made it for free. 155. She teased. Free. That nug humper said it would be over 30 gold for a bottomless canteen for my alcohol. That's your problem, my smelly friend. You wanted something for fun. Something you wanted for yourself. 121. Zevran explained, shooting a knife from his new brace launcher through a darkspawn's eye. You need to phrase it like you would use it to help others. How do you think I got this bad boy? He showed off his new bracer. Are they always like this? Loghain asked. Not always. They could barely keep count and talk at the same time before, I joked. In all honesty, this was getting exhausting. For every dark spawn slain, 3 more took their place. The only thing keeping us from being overrun was the chokehold. Alpha, screamed someone from the wall, as the bodies of dark spawn blocking the gate exploded inwards, revealing an ogre well over 8 feet. I know muscle doesn't indicate strength. I've seen Sky bend steel as easily as I would a fork, but that bastard was big. How much for that one? I asked. They all nodded to each other. One, they all said impassively. That doesn't seem fair, I muttered. As it charged, I placed my shield in front of me. This one's mine, cover my flank. Kalen, I didn't hear whatever Loghain was going to say as I tensed my muscles and charged forward at max speed, ramming into the monster. Strength contest. Kalen Terran versus Alpha Ogre. I wonder if G felt the same as magic. My armor was already strong enough to protect me from just about anything. My sword could cut through steel, and my shield could withstand any blow, but my chi ramped everything to a level I've never believed was possible. Victor, Kalen Terran. The ogre's momentum was turned against it as my charge hit it right in the chest, turning its ribs to dust and launching it back into its fellows, crushing a few more. That's at least worth 3, I huffed. A beam of light shooting out from Draken Tower cut off my perfectly logical argument. Whoa! They're running, someone screamed from the top of the wall. Any dark spawn still in the gap started panicking, running for the gate only to get trapped at the door and get killed by an arrow or fireball. Everything seemed to go quiet for a moment. Gold leader, this is command. Chicken is cooked. I repeat, the archdemon has been killed. Victory, I roared out, getting a cheer from the troops around me, which began to grow as the news traveled. // Nick POV. And here I am, Argaran. Kinda. I was still on top of Draken Tower, but everything was put through a white filter with white fog everywhere. Hello, Maker, Stone, and Rule, I called out, finding no one. Erthamiel, a soft voice called out. Turning, I found Erthamiel in her human form, unblighted and naked as can be, looking out at the city. So, gonna try and dream kill me? It was a joke, but who knows with gods? No, I don't think I will. She sounded tired, like someone who has been working too many hours and slept too little, just like my gramps after my grandma died. So, what is this then? Why pull me in here? What do you want? This woman wasn't exactly my favorite person. She finally turned to me. Her eyes were a godly opal, the colors swirled and danced, never staying a single color. You called me, she answered with a small tilt of her head. I don't understand. Andrul said the same thing. She looked confused before smiling. I could see why ancient Tevinter called her the god of beauty. Her hair was a beautiful red along with her scales, and her lips were pink and pouty, with a hint of mischievousness. It was so light, a ping to my sleeping senses. Someone was thinking of me. They were so far away, but they wondered about me. Where was I? Why couldn't my little followers hear me? A notification popped up. Quest. Why have the gods forsaken us? Find out why the gods don't answer the pleas of Thedas. Reward. Advance in all stat attributes, 1,000 gold, 1 straight wish, 10,000 express. That was, well over a year ago, I muttered at the insane quest. But we heard it. By now you should have realized that the veil, she moved her arm around, indicating the air around us, is one of the main reasons why we can't communicate with our followers. Yeah, didn't need to be a rocket doctor to figure that out. Do you know how it came to be? The Dread Wolf, Solus, Fenhel, or whatever. She nodded. He came to us. His fellows were going mad with power, killing, enslaving, fighting pointless wars. They killed an old sleeping one. Old sleeping one, a titan. She nodded. In their pursuit for more power, they murdered a peaceful giant for its blood. She sounded remorseful, but being peaceful doesn't mean they can't be vengeful. In its final moments, the giant got the last laugh. It cursed the very thing the foolish would-be gods fought for, staining its blood red. It beckoned them with its power, but it was never enough. More, more, more. Sing for me forever. That was haunting. The gods wanted more. They became crueler, monstrous. They attacked for our blood, our power. When the wolf arrived, we were desperate. The would-be gods killed many. Sure, not all the false gods were red with the giant's blood, but they were not strong enough to fight them. When the wolf said he had the ability to seal away the monsters, we agreed, but we didn't know. No. He made us keys, our very souls. He used us to create the veil and seal them away. He sacrificed many, but after his friend died, he didn't care. He wished for revenge. He used the one with the bow as bait to seal half and us to seal the others. Then, to make sure no one could find the keys, he sealed us behind his wall, his veil, our bodies sleeping. But you escaped. Yes, the realm of magic is not meant for mortals to live in forever. Even with our mighty power, we could not live there forever. We wished for freedom. Then, humans came. They were so lost, scared, and alone. As they entered Thedas, their gods could not reach them, but we could. We showed him the wonders of the magic realm. We made him powerful. Blood magic. She nodded. The veil made them weak. They needed something to counteract it, sacrifice, to give of one's self. When the time came, we lied to them, a way for them to enter and a way out for us to leave. Then they stabbed the veil. We escaped, to return to our bodies, but something followed him out. We do not know if it was the trapped gods, but they became red, corrupted, and they searched for us, our power, our souls, the keys. We would have fled, but our bodies were weak, thousands of years, unmoving, soulless, frozen. We needed to recover, but they found us. I felt when my sisters became corrupted, their screams. I am thankful for those who killed them, the same way I thank you. She bowed. I mean, you would have probably killed everything if we didn't, no prob. The world around us became brighter. Whoa. My time is shortening, tell me. She paused, asking for my name. Nick, I answered. Nick, Victory, it's a fitting name, Victory. Nick, if it's not too much trouble, could you try and make me a female in my next life? What? She walked up to me, putting her hand on my chest. I think I'll be okay with you as my uncle. Her hand lit up one last time and shoved me. I was falling as the world went white. What? Quest completed. Why have the gods forsaken us? Find out why the gods don't answer the pleas of Thedas. Reward. Advance in all stat attributes, 1,000 gold, 1 straight wish, 10,000 express. Nick. I snapped my eyes wide open as I gasped for breath, looking at a worried Jack, Nat, and Ayla. My throat was dry as a desert. I was on the ground looking up at the last spritz of earthermeal essence shoot out into the night sky. The stars were beautiful. "Are you okay?" Ayla asked, getting ready to hit me with a healing spell. "Water," I croaked. Ayla shoved her canteen into my mouth, accidentally trying to drown me. "Easy there." Jack pulled back the canteen, saving my life. "The others?" I asked, trying to stand. "We're fine," Nat answered, helping me to my feet, but Aiden was too close to the archdemon when she changed back and nearly crushed him. He's unconscious but breathing. I'm guessing it has something to do with Morrigan's ritual. "You know about that?" I didn't think Morrigan would tell her about it. "It's called a sisterhood, Nick, no secrets. And she told me not to get pregnant or else she'll turn you into a frog. That's more like her." Can you imagine, pregnant before your first century, first Alyssa, now Morrigan? She eyeballed Ayla. "Don't go getting any ideas, young lady." "I'm only 18, she blushed, waving Jack away. "Good," she pinched Ayla's cheeks. "Gods, your babies will be so cute." "Jack," I laughed at Ayla's embarrassed face. "And you, Nat?" I teased, thinking of baby names. She rolled her eyes. "Please." "John, Jacob, and Theron," Jack answered for her. "Theron," I teased, Nat's face matching her hair. "I lost a bet," she grumbled. "I told you not to play him at Wicked Grace. He has a master poker face." I thought I knew his tell. I laughed and brought her into a one-armed hug. "We'll just have only girls," I teased, getting her to laugh. "Jack fought me hard for those names," Nat pointed out. "Please, everyone knows the J family cheats," I muttered, walking over to Aiden. I don't think the archdemon was expecting the griffins. Otherwise, I think she would have attacked the wall first before entering the city. Sereda and I made sure the outer wall was as smooth as possible, making sure nothing could climb it, and reinforced the wall at least 2 meters under the ground so they couldn't just dig under it. But we didn't want him to just circle the wall until they ran into the sea and into the docks, so we made the gates purposely weak enough where only one ogre can fit at once. The soldiers were trained well enough to hold the gate chokeholds with practically no deaths. The vanguard made sure of that. People have been praising their bravery and combat prowess. At the moment, I was on Main Street with the city's construction workers, wardens, vanguard, and a buttload of robo-golems moving around debris over to a large magically expanded box, where I would just dump it into my inventory and then convert it into logs and stone. It wasn't a lot, but it was better than nothing. I would then dump out the logs and stones in a separate box for the carpenters to use. I could have just used my construction skill to make new homes and shops, but people needed work and earn money. "All right, ya busy bees, lunchtime," I called, blowing my whistle. "I've been made the lunch lady, and have been making food for everybody." "Grab a plate, and no shoving," Neria ordered. She was wearing a bandana to cover her face, not wanting a Templar to see her. "We've made lamb and pea stew with cornbread and a slice of apple pie." I don't like half-arsing anything I enjoy doing, and cooking is one of those things, so the bowls were big, the bread was hefty, and the pie slice was the size of your face. "How much is this?" a young man asked. He couldn't be more than 16, and he was a bit scrawnier than something you would consider healthy. "It free," I drawled. He wasn't the first to ask, and I doubt he will be the last. I just passed him a bowl and moved him down the line. "Don't forget to pick up your pay after work. I will not hunt you down, and remember your ID, otherwise, you're going to be charged for a new one." I called out to the crowd. The pay was simple. You get paid a minimum of 5 silvers an hour, which Telsa told me was very generous. I am not good with money. Off to the side was a large booth where Telsa and her workers were counting the money and putting it in pouches. Some of my best golems were providing security. People have been working hard. Ferelden was having a celebration at the end of the week. Food, games, competitions, you name it. Kalen also had important announcements after people had got a chance to know each other, and Honora wanted money to start circulating. A commotion erupted from the back of the line. "The hell?" The people split as a woman and 2 Templars came to the front of the line. Human Warlock. Cassandra Allegra Portia Caligera Philomena Pendergast. Age, 27. LVL, 30. HP 500 and 500ths. MP 400 and 400ths. Street, she fought a dragon. With friends, lots of friends. V. Heavy armor feels like a second skin. Dex, Swordmaster. Int, didn't plan out on how to get to the flying island. Wis, loyal to a fault. Char, Brick. Luck, she was almost eaten by a dragon. A Nevarin of the royal Pendergast family and seeker of the Chantry. She has been the right hand of the divine since 922 Dragon. Cassandra is the 78th in line to the Nevarin throne. Cassandra was raised on her family's estate in Navarra City. In 910 Cassandra's parents, Lord Matthias and Lady Tigana, took the wrong side in the second attempt to overthrow King Marcus Pendergast and were executed by the king. At the suggestion of his court, King Marcus ordered the execution of most of the conspirators' immediate families, fearing reprisals from vengeful relatives down the line. Cassandra and her brother were spared because they were only children at the time and family to the king. Most importantly, they had an influential relative to vouch for their behavior. Their father's brother, Vestulus, was a senior member of the Mortalitasi and as such beyond the reprisal of the king, and he took them in as his wards. Cassandra and her brother moved to the Grand Necropolis of Navarra. She's here to take you to a circle of Maggie. It's a new invention called the line. I drawled. Get to the back of it, I ordered. Are you Nick Walters? She asked. Yes, no back of the line. I am. Stop, I shoved my hand in her face. I don't give a flying fuck who you are. I pointed to the people behind her, the people Ya shoved to the side. Yeah. They've been working all morning and this is their paid lunch hour, move. I am the right hand of, oof, her angry vein looked all kinds of pissed off. Stop, what part of, I don't give a flying fuck, did you not understand? Hey, what's going on here, I need my lunch. We looked back spotting Kalen, Theron, and Alistair in line, all of them looking like a couple of good old boys, white t-shirts, blue overalls, thick boots, gloves, and a towel around their neck. At this point, it wouldn't surprise me if everybody knew Kalen and Alistair were brothers. Your Majesty, Cassandra gawked. Yes, it's me King Kalen Terran, son of King Marek Terran and Queen Rowan Garin, and you, can move out the damn way. This is my 1 hour of lunch before I get back to work. Kalen was doing a bit of a PR move by coming down here and helping the people rebuild. I'm 60% positive that it was Honora's plan, but Kalen has always been a man of the people. And the people loved him, as they joined him in booing and jeering at the Seeker and Templars. This man is a mage, she called out. Yeah, we know, an elven child answered, man's been flaunting his magic for months. We want lunch, getting another cheer from the people. Your Majesty, the Seeker looked lost. There's a line, get to the back of it, he ordered. She turned, giving me a look that would impress Morrigan, before huffing and walking to the back of the line. The Templar to the left stayed. I was part of the line, but she pulled out, can I? No cutting the line, I answer. Man, he tisked, I didn't even want to get out of line, damn Seekers, he muttered and grumped walking to the back of the line. It took a second for Kalen to get to the front of the line. Are you okay? Please, she almost got herself lynched. Getting in the way of a bunch of hungry workers and wardens, she has the charisma of a rock, not even a shiny rock. I think I'll be fine. Okay, but call me if she tries anything. Also, can I get some extra pie? If there are leftovers. Man, there ain't gonna be any leftovers. Bunch of hungry warden, I'm the king, he muttered moving down the line. Theron came up behind him. You believe that guy, trying to get extra food? We cool right? He bounced his eyebrows at me. No. Man, I'm a grey warden. I just saved the world. This be mad disrespectful, he muttered walking down the line. I looked at Alistair. No. He just sighed. Didn't think so. It's not like I had to fight the archdemon in the air or anything, he muttered. Hey, mister, can I get 2 bowls of stew? The elven kid asked. Sure. I passed him 2 bowls. The other 3 looked back at me, betrayal etched on their faces. The boy just smirked. Next. Neria just giggled. Just get your lunch and get, Neria ordered, pouring him a good heaping amount of stew. It took a while, but Cassandra finally reached me. By then I'd had Neria go around giving refills. Cassie, you're back. I don't remember giving you my name, or permission to call me something so scandalous, she glared. Scandalous, really? I rolled my eyes, passing the Templar to her left a bowl, cornbread, and pie. Thanks for working hard today, Travis. The look Cassandra gave that man should have come with a death beam. Travis didn't give a damn. Don't give him that look. He's been working all morning in the hot sun, let him eat. Jason, you want some? If you don't mind. I passed him some food. Cassie, when did you get here? Why does that matter? Because I haven't made it a secret that I was a mage, but not once have I run into you. Travis and Jason work at the Chantry. I've run into them all the time. They know who I am, and my power. They also know that King Kalen has given me diplomatic immunity. So, seeing as only one of them helped escort you here, I guess Mother Giselle already told you this and you didn't care. How close was I? You're a mage. It is the job of the Chantry to move you to a tower for your protection, she growled. Cassie, why are you here? Be honest with me. You can't possibly imagine you can really bring me in. I literally fought the archdemon with my own 2 fists. Do you really think you could handle me? Your mana core has been attacked. Mana contest. Nick Walters versus Cassandra Pendergast. Victor, Nick Walters. Cassandra has received blowback. Mana crash. She did a little squeak before slumping forward into the dirt. What just happened? Jason asked, looking over the Seeker. She tried to throttle my mana core and lost. It sent her into a mana crash, I explained, summoning a pillow and putting it under her head. Oof, that's the worst. Seen kids go through that, ain't pretty. I didn't know non-mages could go through that. Travis asked. Oh yeah, everyone has mana, and has the potential to have mana crashes, but the less you have the faster you recover, I explained. Most people just have a migraine for a bit. And the Seeker has a lot more mana than a normal person. So, how are you guys doing? Giselle told me you were at the front line. I moved Cassandra to the side as me and the Templars talked. I even roped them into helping with dinner for the night crew. Sten and Shale would pass by and talk about their part of the battle at the Western Gate with the Vanguard. Aidan would finally get out of bed and visit with Morrigan watching over him. When I asked when he was going to return the poisoning flaming raging sword of doom, he acted like he had dementia. Sword? What sword? Do you want a sword? I can get you a sword. I rolled my eyes, and allowed him to keep it until the dark spawn had been completely beaten back. I know awakening was supposed to happen soon, and since I'm never going back into the deep roads, I'll give him an extension on the sword's lease. I have no doubt he'll think of something else to keep the blade longer. When are you planning on creating my island? Morrigan asked. I would first have to buy the land. You better believe Honora would try and make a claim since the earth used to make it was owned by Ferelden at the time. I passed her a catalogue of all the islands I could create. Stick to the small size. Ah, looking through the catalogue I see, Theron appeared next to Morrigan reading over her shoulder. I want the one on page 573, Morrigan quickly flipped to the page. What, this thing's the size of a castle. She read through the description. He wanted to use it to host the next Arlethven, no doubt to show off the grace of the Sabre clan. Theron wanted the good shit, a medium castle made in the same art style. The alienage was now a large lawn for growing food and raising livestock. It did come with drawbacks, no weapons or fast mobility, but it did come with the same security system Mother Base came with. 2 birds, 1 stone, he pointed out. Yo Nick, Ayla in the house. I slowly turned to see Ayla dressed like a hardcore gangster rapper, big coat, enough gold to sink a battleship, a backward cap, baggy pants, thick sunglasses, and a white t-shirt with the words, straight out of Redcliffe. How much does Julie have over you? I questioned, leaving the newlyweds to their house hunting. Enough. And you? I turned to Dagna, looking extra fly, with booty shorts, a sports bra, thick black boots, what I thought was a fake tattoo of a black and white dragon fighting on her thigh, and a hug gold necklace holding up a word, wizard, covered in precious jewels. You're just jealous I could pull this off. I have the hips, I counted, I just don't think the ladies could handle the tight squeeze. Your nuts are women, she giggled. Ladies, not women, they're sensitive to everything, and it's my job to keep them safe, I teased. Nick, who's this? Ayla asked, pointing to Cassandra. Oh, that's Cassie, your first assassin. I don't think she took my nonchalant attitude well. What? She took out face musher and got into a fighting stance. Hold on, Lady Ayla. Travis jumped into the conversation, blocking Ayla from smashing Cassie's head into the groin, execution style. This is Seeker Cassandra Pentecost, the hero of all ice, and the right hand of the divine. So, please don't kill an Orlesian hero in Denerim, while there's an Orlesian army in the city. Right, we wait until they leave. This is who the Maker made into his cleric. Or, we don't, Jason countered. I suppose that's an option, she muttered, reluctantly putting away her mace, but not before poking Cassandra. Do you wanna, no, wake her up? Get some answers, I suggested. I guess. She opened her book, bathing us in holy light, causing the two Templars to kneel on reflex, healing word. It really sounded like she didn't want to be here. Cassandra gave a gasp and spasmed awake, jumping to her feet. Who? When? What? She asked, looking around. She reached for her sword only to find it missing. My sword. I gave a whistle showing that I had her sword and shield. That's mine, she growled. Not anymore, they're not, I said, shoving them into my hammer space. You have an hour before I have to get back to making tonight's dinner. If you want to ask more questions, you're going to help. Who are you? She growled. Nick Walters, Sorcerer Supreme, Chef, annoyed. What did you do to me? Nothing. You thought it was smart to attack my mana core, and my core fought back, and whooped your ass. I'm guessing you're not used to holding such massive, throbbing, veiny power. Dagna elbowed me. Power can't be veiny, ya perv. Of course, it can. Ayla, tell Dagna how veiny my power is. Shush. She points her holy book at Cassandra. Zone of truth. A large glowing dome encircled us. Gamer's mind has blocked Ayla Keena's zone of truth. Whoa, what's this? Dagna asked. Right, you've never seen this before. This is a holy spell, zone of truth. Lying here is next to impossible. Next to. Only those with powerful mental shields might have the ability to overcome its holy compulsion, to tell the truth. Watch. Ayla, am I a generous lover? Why yes, shut up. Ayla's face looked ready to ignite. But as you can see, it can be a double-edged sword, I laughed. Why are you here? Ayla demanded. I was sent from T the Divine to find the flying island, Cassandra grunted. Why? T to know if it belongs to the Maker. It doesn't, it belongs to that dork, she corrected, jutting her thumb at me. I just gave 2 finger guns. What sort of magic is this? She asked. Holy magic, given to me straight from the Maker, Ayla answered. Are you here to kill us? No, I'm supposed to take you and any mages to the tower with the Templars. Well, that's not happening, Kalen laughed, walking into the zone of truth, putting his towel around his neck. Your Majesty, Cassandra bowed. I understand that this mage is your friend, but... No, I don't think you understand, Seeker. That is the holy cleric Ayla Keena, chosen of the Maker, fighter of evil, and a hero of Ferelden. You overestimate the Chantry's power in Ferelden. Beatrix should have told you the instability of the Chantry here, especially after she tried to crown an Orlesian, king of Ferelden, he growled. That's putting it mildly. It was around that time that the Ferelden citizens realized that the Chantry was an Orlesian organization first and foremost. I'm not saying that the average person didn't pray to the Maker, just that they did it more at home than at the church. That explained why the Kuzlan Shadow War wasn't very shadow-like. This only made me respect Giselle more. She's fighting an uphill battle and doing a pretty good job at it. Oh, don't be too mean to her. She isn't meant to think, only punch and throttle. I tried to ease the situation. Besides, what can she do? If she went against your word and tried and kidnapped me, I would slaughter my way to freedom. Not only that. Nikki, Sky called out, running over to us. She would have to go against her. Hey Sky, here for lunch? Yep, she's been helping burn all the dark spawn corpses. I got you some marlin. I doubt you would want any sort of meat. It was big, over 8 feet and over 1,000 pounds, and worth just over 15 gold, but she was fresh, just being caught this morning. I made everything I could with it: ceviche, sushi, fish and chips, fish tacos, grilled, pasta. I put it in a goddamn calzone, everything my cooking skill had. I even bought more books just to see what I could do. But you have to wait until everyone gets here. Oh, this is Cassie. A dragon killer. Damn, that's dirty, Theron muttered. Cassandra looked like a frightened cat, looking ready to bolt. The Templars next to her took a step away. You killed a dragon. The disbelief was palpable. She lifted her like a plush toy. I find this hard to believe. She narrowed her eyes, before shaking her back and forward, before dropping her to the floor like a dead fish. Poor Cassandra, she just flopped around to get a handle on her bearings. Pathetic. Lunch, lunch, lunch. A small army of children came marching around the corner with Astral leading them, Jack and Julie at the end of the line, making sure none of them got lost. By the power of Grey Skull, don't tell me I have to feed those brats, I moaned. Theron patted me on the back. I gotta get back to work, have fun. Screw you, Theron. All right, little Yar munchkins. Line up. You, I point to a startled Cassandra, get up and put this on. I ordered, throwing her an apron and clean gloves. Tweedledum and Tweedledee. I pointed to the 2 Templars. Start collecting the plates for the lunch area. You, gangster girl, and your side piece are on lunch duty with Miss Tipsy here. Astral, they are your minions, you keep an eye on them. Jack, Julie. I love you. What? How come they don't have to do anything? Cassandra barked. Wait, are they desire demons? I shrugged. I ran out of things to do. I guess they can help distribute the food. Are you new here? Julie asked. More importantly, are you single? Wah. She's trying to assassinate me. Ayla cried out. Oh, never mind. She reached out and pulled Cassandra close. I need you to listen very closely, you disgusting filth. If you hurt my Ayla, I will burn your chantry to the ground, and the last thing you think of as your world burns around you will be the regret of touching someone so pure. And know you were nothing but trash in the eyes of your god, she growled with the face that would make even the meanest dark spawn flinch, before dropping her to the ground. All right kids, please line up. She cheered with the sweetest voice. Aye. Get off the floor, I ordered. These children aren't going to feed themselves. Cassandra was pretty quiet after that, sort of just kept her head down. After the kids were fed and sent off to do their jobs with golem escorts, Cassie just left. That's probably gonna cause problems later, but the message was sent, don't fuck with mine. // As the week came to a close, the debris was cleaned up and homes and businesses were being put back together. Everyone who helped walked away with about 5 gold, which according to Telsa was well over a month's wage for most of the workers. Shit, some of them have never seen that much, mostly working for trade and housing. I was also tasked to help pay the Ferelden soldiers who fought in the war. It didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. I had all their files and pictures, and a good 95% of them didn't lose their id, so handing out the money went pretty smoothly. Sure, Ferelden's coffers took a hit, but with the festival, our up-and-coming projects, and the fact that I'm patient enough for Ferelden to pay me for my work, it didn't stop Honora from asking me to help make food for the festival. I was running from place to place, helping the food stands form, giving people breaks, ingredients, and pointers, as well as helping with the games, making prizes, organizing competitions from food to music to a grand melee. This place was booming. I had my golems run security, making sure no one got too crazy, and it helped that Honora didn't have to pay them. 2 days. 2 days of crazy festival fun, and with my mage light posts the party could go into the night. People were just happy to be alive. Defeating a blight with less than minimal casualties was a miracle in and of itself, but also getting paid for it was crazy. As the festivities came to an end, I got to work on the train, much to Dagna's and Telsa's delight. Theron was also there. The engine cart wasn't as hard to create as I first thought. All I had to do was replace the regular coal engine for my mini arc reactor Mk.4 and convert the power it created into magic using runes. But in order to get the best bang for my buck, I gritted my teeth and bought some vibranium, using one of my 50% off coupons. Using my copying skill made an inferior metal, but it still worked better than the palladium I was using. It cost an arm and a leg to copy, so it was a slow process. The cloned vibranium was called potassium in my observation skill, due to it being synthesized and not found in nature. Eat your heart out, Tony. With its new engine, it was ready to fly. Now all I needed to make was the navigation system, carts, durability runes, and the security system. All of which had Dagna jumping for joy, making the levitation runes. Even Julie was hyped. She wasn't there when I created Mother Base, so she was just as excited as Dagna. Honora already had the first flight all planned out, with Fereldans not wanting Orlesians marching through their lands. They would be the first to use it to return home and show off Fereldans' innovation. I guess they would learn about it sooner or later. Why not kick their teeth in with the invention? The message was simple: no wall is too high, no land is too far, and we are better as your ally. // It was Tuesday just after lunch when Kalen made his announcements to a large crowd of nobles, common folk, Dalish, dwarves, and just about anyone else who could fit in the king's meeting room. Our group was placed right in front of Kalen, with the exceptions of Morrigan, Neria, Zevran, Sten, Lina, Ava, Leliana, Telsa, and Dagna. Morrigan didn't want the attention. Neria feared someone would see her and cause a kerfuffle. Zevran was an assassin. The idea of being in the limelight was not wise. Sten didn't care about the accolades of Ferelden. He came to find information about the Blight. He may have messed up in the beginning, and was willing to take the punishment for his rash actions, but he paid them back by saving the country of the people he unjustly killed. His job is done. He now needed to return to Parvolan and give his report. Lina didn't really fight. Sure, she was command, but I don't think she fought a single dark spawn. And Ava was disguised as Raven, so unless she wanted to out herself, she stayed away from the praise. Lily didn't want praise for doing the Maker's work, which was strange because Ayla was all for it. I believe it was because she used to be a bard. You never know who's watching. And finally, Telsa and Dagna didn't really feel like they did anything, so they chose to abstain. They were still in the upper balcony though. Human, elf, dwarf, Kossith, Kalen began. We stand here today united from a common cause. We are bound together by the ties of duty and the desire for a better tomorrow. No one people could have done what we have done alone. I have traveled these lands, from the freezing tips of the Frostback Mountains to the wilds of the Brecilian forest to the dangers of the deep roads, and in my journey, I have gotten to meet amazing people, men and women I call friends and family. Aidan Kuzland of High Ever. Your family had been betrayed by the monster and traitor Rendon Howe. You could have abandoned your duties as a Grey Warden and hunted Howe down, and very few would fault you, but you didn't. You kept your word and your honor by putting Ferelden first. It was serendipity that put you on the path to avenge your home and family, and even when you put a stop to Howe's actions you stayed and helped defend Denerim from the Blight. You were what every noble should aspire to become, a man of honor and resilience. For your help in Ferelden's greatest time of need, I reward the title, Hero of Ferelden, and the lands that Howe once owned will be given you your family. May your family rule be just. Aidan bowed to one knee. Thank you, Your Majesty. Kalen nodded, moving to the next person in line, Nasha Broska of Orzammar, an outcast to your people but a hero to ours. It was you who lit the beacon at Ostagar. It was you who kept us grounded. It was you who kept us alive, and for that, I will be forever grateful. Ferelden's lands are open to you and will forever be in your debt. Nat gave a small bow, Your Majesty. Theron Mahariel, former first of Clan Sabre, and my friend, your wisdom, magic, and outside-of-the-box thinking have saved us plenty of times in the past. It was your bravery and might that helped save this country. I give you the title of Hero of Ferelden, and as a hero of Ferelden you need a place to call home. So with the power as King of Ferelden I give the Dalish a home in Ferelden. The Brecilian forest will be awarded to the elves for their bravery and honor. Andaran Atishan. Theron, shocked at Kalen's gift and words, gave him a warrior's handshake. Ir Murthadra, May our people forever be united, King Kaelan. He backed away and bowed. Warden Commander Duncan, your advice and wisdom have been invaluable as we marched through the deep roads and taught my people how to fight the Blight. I do not know how the Grey Wardens are rewarded for their bravery in the face of unimaginable odds, but Ferelden thanks her heroes. Looking through old records, we found an old Grey Warden outpost by the name of Soldier's Peak. For your bravery, Ferelden will reward the Grey Wardens with this outpost. Ferelden thanks the Grey Wardens for their vigilance. Duncan just bowed. Ayla Kina, cleric of the Maker and defender of the innocent, Ferelden thanks you for your help. I thank you for your help. You brought hope to the hopeless, and the Maker back to Ferelden. For helping Ferelden in its greatest need, I reward you the title of Grand Cleric of Ferelden. May Ferelden forever be your home when you need it, and may the Maker be with you. Ayla bowed, and may the Maker be with you. For a moment Kaelan crown lit up, giving off a holy light, giving people a sense of peace and awe. Many bowed at its power. Princess Serada Ejikan, Paladin of the Stone, Warrior of Justice, and Mountain Mover. You were exiled from Orzammar, but you never stopped fighting, not the Dark Spawn, for your people and for a better tomorrow. Your will has overcome the odds, and your God saw this. We were lucky enough to see the outcome. For helping Ferelden in its greatest need, Ferelden gates will be opened to you. I give you the title of Earthshaker. I will be in contact with King Belan and we'll work together to make sure the Dark Spawn don't threaten Orzammar for a long time. She bowed. May the earth under you be firm and your lands fertile. A small tremor passed through the building, lighting up the creases between the stone floor. I swore the gods just wanted to one-up each other. Alyssa Kuzland and Senior Enchanter Wynn of the Circle of Magie of Ferelden. You are what every mage should be and strive to become. Through my journey, I've learned how the mages and Templars were treated in Ferelden, and I cannot let that stand. The Tower of Magie is now under the protection of Ferelden, and its mages and Templars will no longer be under the Chantry's purview. Templars who no longer wish to serve will get the proper treatment, and mages will not be locked away like animals. They are my people, and there are no slaves in Ferelden. He was no longer talking to the mages, but to the room, daring anyone to contradict him. Nobody did. This is most kind, Your Majesty. Wynn and Alyssa bowed. We will not abuse this kindness. Shale of Clan Kadash, warforged by Paragon Caradon, a veteran of the Ferelden Revolution and the First Blight. Your reward is long overdue, but I am unsure what a warrior of your caliber would desire, but I can offer you a home in Ferelden for as long as you wish. Shale just nodded, not really caring. Shale was a tough woman to shop for. Didn't eat, didn't wear clothes, and didn't sleep. If Sten didn't give her the business every night, I didn't think she would care for anything. Okran Kondrat, fighter of the warrior caste, and master mixologist. Okran's smirk grew to nearly split in half. You taught me many things, from telling what the alcohol percentage of a drink was just by sniffing, to axe handling, to careful beard grooming techniques. You fought for Ferelden when she needed it by my side. For that, Ferelden is your home if you wish it. And you can have a bar. Yeah, he fist pumped. We just rolled our eyes, and let him have his victory. Sky Skipper and Astral Strider, mighty great dragons of Ferelden, I do not know how I can thank you properly, for your strength and might have helped save Ferelden from a great evil. Astral just ate up all the praise. If you would be open to it, I would title you Ferelden's Dragon Protectors. With the payment of a druffalo a week. I, the great and mighty Astral Strider, expect your offer. She posed. Sky just nodded and put a large gold chain around Kaelan that nearly toppled him over. In my journey with you I have learned that landwalkers are not as powerful as dragons, but together you are mighty. May you lead your people to greatness. That gold chain looked heavy. Thank you. I'm just gonna put it somewhere where I can see it better. He huffed, passing over to one of his very shocked servants. Dude held it up like a champ, for a whole 5 seconds before he brought it too close to his chest, which toppled him to the ground, where 2 of the vanguards carried him away. Very beautiful, he coughed, rubbing his neck. That got a few chuckles from the crowd. Julia and Jack Hope, citizens of the northern continent of Rezum, you came from a faraway land, a land not threatened by a blight, safe from the dangers we faced, but you still came. You arrived out of the clouds and helped a land that wasn't your own. You came, and without being asked you came to our defense, and for that, we will forever be grateful. Know that Ferelden will call you friends for as long as you wish, and any more of your people who come will be met with respect and welcome." They both bowed and backed away at the same time. Nick Walters, a man of mysteries, a doom-driven fool, the god's plaything, and my friend. I can state, without a shadow of a doubt, that I would not have survived Ostagar without you. You saved me and so many others, from the mages and Templars at the tower to the dwarves of Orzammar when we activated the dormant golems, to cure the elves of the disease. You have even helped my people here in Denerim, from Ravasan to the new walls, to the mage lights that light Denerim at night. For helping Ferelden in its greatest need, I give you the title of Baron and Ferelden's Artificer. Quest completed. Origins. We are cancelling the apocalypse. The fifth Blight marches towards Denerim. If not stopped, it will grow out of control. Reward, 100,000 express, 2 gold loot boxes, 3 gacha tokens, 100 gold. New title, Ferelden's Artificer plus 15% to int, wis, and luck. Bonus, limit the destruction of Denerim. 489,302 500,000th durability of Denerim's walls. Reward, 50 gold, 2 gacha tokens. New title, Hero of the People plus 30% to char in Ferelden. Level up, plus 1. Damn, I made those walls to last. The repair and durability rune I put in every wall segment probably has something to do with that. Thank you, King Kai. Wait, does that mean I have to pay taxes? He just smiled at me. Honora's wily as hell. Thanks anyway. She's probably going to make me pay taxes by fixing shit or try and take a bigger piece of the train business. Alistair. Alistair was wearing my young, dumb, and filled with pride shirt. I see Nick got you into the shirt. I made a deal. I keep my end. Alistair Terran. Holy shit. I didn't think Kalen was going to out his brother here, and the way Alistair's eyes looked ready to pop out of his eyes, he didn't either. Son of Marek Terran, and my brother, I couldn't be prouder of the man you have become. I know father would be as well, seeing his son defend his people even in the shadows, but I will not let my brother live in the dark. For defending Ferelden in its darkest hour, you are given your right as a Terran, for you are no bastard, you are my brother. He looked over to us. I bet you didn't know, huh? Mind blown, never saw it coming, but you're so different. Alistair doesn't even have a beard. We just made a token effort to sound shocked. I don't think they noticed. Yes, me and my brother are masters of secrets. God, he sounded so smug. The ceremony ended not too long after that. He made Valandrian the ban of Ravasan, made the Dalish camp into a new warehouse district after they left, and the official formation of the Vanguard. The response on the news was a little mixed. Change always had its naysayers and nothing ever goes as smoothly as one wants. Still, if Ferelden wanted to avoid the worst of what the future had in mind, they needed to change. Beautiful, isn't it? The train took less than a week. It had 300 magically expanded carts that could carry the thousands of Orlesian troops to Val Royo. The cool part was that the seats could fold into the floor, converting a passenger cart into a cargo container. Does it work? Honora asked. Our group was standing outside between the walls, a place that I thought would be a decent place to reveal my train. Gasp. I am offended you even have to ask. I stepped up to the engine cart and activated the engine. Everything came online. The blue glow from the arc reactor lit up the cart and traveled down the runes, lighting every cart with a blue glow, indicating that each cart was getting power. Wanna go for a ride? Dagna was the first to jump into the engineer's box, which of course is also magically expanded. It was similar to Mother Base's control room, with a large holographic world map taking the center of the room, and a pilot's chair in front of the room with large screens showing a 300-degree view of the world outside. Nice, right? It has the same navigation system as Mother Base. I pointed to the globe, point and go, with new voice-activated commands, as well as a pilot's chair for manual flying. Dagna. Don't mind if I do. She hopped into the chair as we crowed around. I made everything as user-friendly as I could. There were buttons, levers, and switches, all clearly labeled and would light up, telling you what to press and what it did. She's as tough as Mother Base and can float, so we could use docks and landing zones. Are we going anywhere specific? Dagner asked, getting comfortable. Just fly us over Denerim, I ordered. 1 round trip coming up. She started navigation, 1 round trip around Denerim, returning to this spot. With the command being given, the screens showed dangers, traffic, and a guided line, as the button for liftoff lit up. Pressing it gave a small hum, but other than that it was quiet. Dampening runes? Theron asked, sticking his head out the window and looking around. We aren't very high off the ground. That's because I haven't chosen the height, Dagner explained, pulling back a lever that had numbers indicating the height, to the glowing 600 feet. Whoa, we're moving, Theron called out. I don't even feel it. Are we riding a rainbow? As you can see, I pointed to the top of the screen, showing a green train. This shows if there is something wrong with the train. Whether it's just a fight in a cart or a fire, this will show you and will automatically try and fix the problem. How does it stop a fight? Neria asked. Golems. I placed 4 robo-golems on every cart. I pretty much made golems for everything. Water golems for fires, every plate and cup are golems that put themselves away. I wanted everything to be easy for the crew that will work here. Elevation reached. A female synthetic monotone voice spoke out. And that is? Aiden asked, looking around the room. Sammy, the pilot's little helper, she just points out what needs doing and the train's progress. Is it a spirit? Morrigan asked. Nah, it's like my golems, it's just magic. Yes, because that makes it different, Sten grunted, looking over the map. Alright, let's do this nice and slow. Dagner moved another lever that indicated the speed. 50 miles per hour should be good. How much is that? Alistair asked. A normal person on foot can travel a good 20 miles in a day, 40 on horseback, before they have to rest, I explained. This bad boy can reach just over 150 miles per hour. It takes just over 2 weeks to make it to Redcliffe on foot, but using this train at max speed, it would take about, Honora started doing quick math in her head, 2 hours. At max speed, probably. Sam, what is the estimated time from here to Redcliffe? I asked. You would reach your destination within 2 hours and 17 minutes at max speed. Nick, can Mother Base reach those speeds? Kalen asked. Oh yeah, easy. Wah, then why weren't we flying all over the place? What, were we taking the scenic route? He asked. Kalen, I don't think you knew how high-strung you were. Ostagar was a bitch. It hit you harder than you think. When I cured you of the Blight, I reinforce your mental health. People can't handle battlefield after battlefield and walk away like it is no big deal. Or did you forget the deep roads? We were on constant guard, your sleeping schedule was all out of whack, and you fell asleep angry and woke up worse. Sten, you are a leader of men. What do you do after a battle? Rest, report, re-evaluate, recuperate, and resupply. You needed those 2 days of rest before we were forced into another battlefield that tended to last well over a week. The only thing that kept you from losing your mind was the fact the dark spawn was nipping at our heels, and I quote, my perfect wife is waiting for me, unquote. Personally, I wanted to take more time in Redcliffe for us to gain our bearings, but we needed to move. The room went silent. I'm sorry, I just wanted to save your people. I know, and that was then. We saved Theda's, your pregnant wife is safe, and Ferelden's well on its way to recovery. Take a breath, you've won. Not just the battle, but the war. The future is still muddled, but you have this moment to breathe. Savor it, my friend. I grabbed his shoulder and softly shook him. Have you picked a baby name? Marvin. That's kind of an old man's name, I teased. Shut up, he huffed. Come on, I laughed. Let me show you the rest of the train. Sammy, activate autopilot. Autopilot engaged. Enjoy your rest. // With the Blight dealt with, King Kalen and Queen Honora returned to the matters of governing. With Kalen's need for fame and glory sated by the Blight, he focused on helping Ferelden not as a warrior but as a king. Thanks to the train system, Kalen and Honora made numerous outings into Denerim and the other settlements in Ferelden. supervising the reconstruction process and greeting their subjects personally, much to the commoners' enthusiastic approval. Many said the chaos of the Landsmeet and the Blight were worth it for delivering such beloved monarchs. With Ferelden's new train system, the country became more connected than ever before, and with the ability to visit new places, cheaper and safer than ever before, commerce quickly followed. Something Telsa and Honora capitalized on. By putting a train station in every major city and settlement, I considered that to be my taxes for the next few years. With how safe and quick it was to move goods using the train system, people were happy to pay the tax it took to rent a cart. After paying the train employees, whatever was left over was split between Telsa and the Crown. That alone would make anyone fabulously wealthy, but the money really started flowing when they used the trains to trade with other countries. Honora and Telsa knew the power of the train and used it without mercy. Every country used either ships or caravans to transport their goods. The train provided the same service but better and faster, as well as moving goods that needed refrigeration. I had to spend another week creating another 4 trains and copied enough stuff to stack the general store nearly 10 times over after the first train returned with enough money to pay every one of my employees for at least 6 months. But since I didn't want to be a stock boy forever, I made a machine to create toilet paper and gave Telsa the necessary runes to make more, and with mages no longer trapped in a tower, she could hire some to apply the runes. There was always a chance that someone might try and steal the plans, so I added fail-safes and magic contracts, but nothing's perfect. Not everyone is happy with this news. All Ice has tried to steal a train, only to have all attempts thwarted, violently, might I add, and has been placed on a banned list, making Orzammar, Navarra City, Cumberland, and Hunter fell the closest any of my trains got to the Empire. Some shipping companies did try and destroy my trains, but I made my stuff to last and had enough firepower to make everyone else second-guess any stupid ideas, especially after one of my trains burned down a pirate fleet that thought it could take from me. As the train industry took off, the alienage, now going by Ravasan, became a powerhouse of industry. It became Ferelden's merchant guild, and with Valandrian being a bit of a pushover, Telsa pretty much ran Ravasan. All she had to do was pay for some social services, and with Valandrian being a good man, that meant real social services, like a real orphanage, schools, community parties, and paid sports. Given the green light, she ran Ravasan like a well-oiled machine. The elves prospered like never before. Some objected to an elf having any sort of power over humans, but after I finished Telsa's city block project, most people didn't care. Their new homes were bigger, safer, and cheaper than before, allowing them to have more money to spend. Telsa was pretty much making a middle class all on her own, so the idea of causing problems for the woman who helped their community didn't sit well with a lot of people. Kalen also bought some of my golems to add to the city guard to keep Denerim from falling back into criminal hands, with most of the crime lords on the run, and any that tried to establish their presence met with a rather powerful guard force made of golems and veteran warriors of the 5th Blight. Denerim was looking to become one of the safest cities in Ferelden, if not Thedas. The Raven took this time to slowly fade away, using the myth that they were a spirit of justice, making everyone believe that Kalen was being fair and just in Denerim. Of course, Sarah denied this, saying that the Raven is out there fighting evil and staying ever vigilant, with Ava not 2 steps away from her, on one of her visits. With the Dalish leaving, Telsa was able to gain most of the leftover warehouses since I made them. With Honora claiming the rest, I did have to make some of them have the ability to preserve food, like my preservation boxes. I spent another week stocking the new warehouses with enough stuff that if another apocalypse happened, then Denerim would last a decade or 2, or at least that's what it felt like after I finished. I also had to provide the security, so each warehouse got 10 robo-golems who always stood watch, with some guards Telsa had to hire. The muscle caught the attention of some of the other merchants who wanted somewhere to keep their goods, so Honora and Telsa rented out the space. By this point, they're practically printing money. Due to Theron looking at me until I broke, I gave each Dalish clan 1 large preservation box. I didn't stop them from buying more though. They didn't use coin money, but they did trade some cool stuff like ironbark, potions, ingredients, weapons, and sometime beautifully decorated Halla horns. Not wanting what happened in the Dales to happen in the Brecilian forest, Kaelin and Lanaya made sure that the new elven capital was built by both Ferelden and the Dalish, trying to make sure that their relationship was built on friendship and trust. Not all Dalish liked this, thinking that the Shems were trying to steal more of their culture, but after Sereda and I helped make the new city resemble ancient elven architecture, they gave us the benefit of the doubt. I didn't make the whole city, no one was going to pay me for that, but I did work until I reached my master rank in my construction skill. Making buildings and complicated pieces of machinery was a cinch. I celebrated by creating a wall around the new elven capital. It didn't rival Denerim's wall, but it would keep a giant out, as well as a train station so the city could be connected to the rest of Ferelden. The new city gained the attention of elves everywhere, no doubt making it the largest area of elves since the Dales. With the Dalish sending an ambassador to Ferelden, the dwarves did the same. Orzammar was on the brink of collapse for a while. They were held by traditions for many years, and it was their way of life. With Sereda and the Stone making every dwarf a surfacer, things got a little wild for a bit. The casteless used that moment to just leave. Fear of the sky was the only thing keeping them in place, but with that out of the way, they had no reason to stay. You might see the problem, with the dwarves working very hard to keep themselves from inbreeding themselves to death, and the casteless were crucial for that. See, anyone who wasn't casteless was related to themselves in one way or another. The casteless were not. With them gone, the problem returned. Seeing the problem, Belen petitioned for Ferelden to create a train station in Orzammar. Many of the dwarves hated that, but seeing as the trains could travel anywhere, dwarves could use this to meet new dwarves and bring them back to Orzammar. It wasn't perfect, but it did work a bit, with surface dwarves wanting to see where their parents came from, and with thousands of golems killing dark spawn at every moment of the day, some dwarves were able to reach thags that were thought to be lost, finding treasure, lyrium, and precious metals. This of course caught the attention of many fools who wished to get rich quickly, bringing a new customer base to Orzammar. Many new surface dwarves made their way to Redcliffe Village, or better known as Red City, now that so many people live there. Arl Aemon remained in Denerim for some time, acting as the Chancellor and Chief Advisor to King Kaelin. Ban Tegan ruled over Redcliffe in his stead and was surprised to find himself well loved by the villagers, who were still grateful for the nights he spent defending their lives. In time, Aemon abdicated in favor of his brother, an event the locals greeted with approval and enthusiasm, even though they were sad to see Aemon go. Young Connor was sent to the Circle here in Ferelden, which was now under the control of Ferelden's vanguard. The Circle Tower was cleared by the vanguard with a group of Templars and battle mages, making sure that no more demons were hiding away. The vanguard then started recruiting from the Templar and mages from the tower to join the vanguard. Many volunteered. With the Chantry no longer allowed to interfere in the tower, they needed a new way to make money, and holy swords looked pretty cool. Some Templars didn't like that Ferelden went against the Chantry and decided to leave Ferelden and return to the Order. I did hang out there for a bit, teaching the first recruits to unlock their chi and help to cure older Templars' messed up mana cores. Ayla and Neria went around curing the Tranquil left in the tower, much to the awe of everyone there. Rumors spread that the Maker was by her side as she went from one mage to another, but more importantly, mages started seeing a bright light within the Fade. It was far, but people believed it was the Maker returning to the people. Dalish talk about a glowing halla that jumps from platform to platform, and the dwarves say that their stone sense was louder and easier to use. You can imagine how the Chantry responded to this, let alone the Seekers. When they came demanding answers, the vanguard showed him the door. Ferelden doesn't have slaves, was the only thing they said. Not liking that answer, they threatened that if an exalted march was ordered they could take the answer from a broken Ferelden. Kaelin asked me to deliver his message and told me to remove anyone who got in my way. Using Mother Base, I stormed the Grand Cathedral with Sky and Astral, beating the hell out of any would-be arcane warrior or shitty warlock seeker who thought they had the balls to try and stop us. Breaking down the doors to the Divine's meeting room, I was greeted by at least 10 Seekers and 4 Knight Enchanters, as well as servants, church officials, and a lady sitting on a chair covered in gold wearing a stupid hat. I dashed past all of them standing in front of the Divine, catching them all by surprise. Before they could do anything, I dropped a letter on her lap. King Kaelin sends his regards, was the only thing I said. The letter only had one page and only one word, if. I left that room over the groaning bodies of every seeker and mage that tried their luck. It sufficed to say that they didn't call an exalted march. It was all fine when you sent soldiers to fight countries away, but it was different when the enemy could just fly over your house and destroy it in less than a second. Their official stance was a wait and see. If Ferelden fell to mages they could say, "I told you so," and if we didn't, well, I guess it was the Maker's blessing. Of the group, Sten was the first to leave. It sounded a lot like a formal goodbye, but I've been around him long enough to tell when he was sincere. I told him it would be an honor if and when he sends his warriors to kill or capture me. He huffed, smirked, and nodded. I was not sure if he would tell his people about my power, but I believe that I've reached a level that would make anyone take a moment to realize how bad of an idea that would be. He did say a few more things to Shale in private before he boarded a ship heading to Ravan. I told him he could take a train. Wasn't a flying rock enough for you? He joked as the ship left port. Shale left after him after learning that the Kadash clan was banished for looking for her. She made it her goal to look for them in return. I told her to investigate Carter groups. Most dwarves tend to become mob clans to stay safe. She gave me a nod and took a train to the Free Marchers. Wynne was next. Well, she didn't leave Denerim, she became the magic advisor to Kaelin. It didn't stop us from burying her in hugs and well wishes. Zevran took that moment to shove his head between her lovely bosoms. She put him in a chokehold that took 3 of us to break. He was blue in the face before we saved him. Okran opened that bar he wanted with Fel C. I of course provided over 100 bottles of alcohol from throughout the multiverse, from 5 kegs of Duff beer from The Simpsons to a bottle of Miraver from The Lord of the Rings. I'm pretty sure I saw a single tear as Okran saw all the alcohol. Not long after that, we got word that Fel C was pregnant with Okran's child. Lily left not long after. She got a letter from an old friend and wanted to meet up with her. I guess she was the soon-to-be Divine Justina. I have no doubt she wanted to tell her all about her journey and the Temple of Sacred Ashes. We wished her luck and good fortunes after crushing her in a back-breaking hug. She gave Theron a goodbye kiss to everyone's shock, well, everyone's but Theron's. "Some things are private," was all he said. "Who is this guy?" The rest of us got to go to Weishaupt in Anderfels to see if I could cure some of the senior wardens. Weishaupt was uptight. I kinda got it. Every warden had a death sentence, and wardens are seen like royalty here, and with a blight just coming to an end their importance was just reinforced. First Warden Richard was a gruff man. He was big and burly, and scars covered his face. We reported on the blight and its defeat. He had questions on how Aiden survived, but just let it go after we said magic. I'm guessing he's seen enough magic to understand that it was bullshit at times, insane at others, and waved it away. He congratulated us and promoted the warden in our group. When I told him I had the ability to cure the blight, he was in 2 minds about it. The older a warden got, the more they came to terms with their mortality, but at the same time knowing that there was a cure could bring the number of recruits to go up. When I told him there were still griffins in Thedas, he allowed a few tests if I told him where they could be found. The only I could remember was that the griffins died out sometime during the 4th blight, but a couple of eggs were saved by a warden and hidden them away, but left clues somewhere in Weishaupt. He didn't look impressed, so I bought 5 fertilized griffin eggs from the gamer's store, 50 gold a pop. He quickly called in some wardens and had him take the eggs to a mage to tell if they were real. He also promised to look for these so-called clues. The next day the whole fortress was in an uproar. The idea that real griffin eggs were in the fortress had everyone wanting their own. Richard gave me the green light to try and cure some of the older wardens, Nat and Alistair. Theron and Aiden decided to stay wardens a bit longer until Ferelden was fully rid of the monsters. 8 hours later, the first elder warden awoke and barfed out enough black sludge that I thought they were going to lose all the liquid in their body, but eventually, they stopped. We burned the sludge and got them out of the room before anyone else woke up. It was a gross 2 hours before the last of them puked up the blight. The first warden put them through a series of tests, but by all means, they no longer had the blight. The power gave me the green light to try other things. Cure all potions from D&D to Skyrim, Senzu beans, Stimpaks, and Ayla using max power healing spells. They didn't cure them, but they did lower the blight in their system by a great deal. Some who were getting ready to leave to their calling said that they could no longer hear the singing. I wanted to see if Chi could fight the calling. Chi was the body's power. Maybe it could enhance the mind's ability to fight off the blight at least a bit longer. Unlocking the Chi of over a dozen wardens going through the calling, all of them reported that the song, which once sounded like a whisper, was fully silent. I then gave them the most effective potion, and they did barf up some taint, but not enough to cure them. But they did say they felt 20 years younger. In the end, all I could do was extend the deadline for the already living wardens. Of course, my experiments didn't end there. I was allowed to unlock the Chi of warden recruits to see if that did anything. It did. Of the 6 recruits that took the joining, none died. Not wanting that to be a fluke, we did it 4 more times each with a different number of recruits, from men and women, to race and age, and they all survived. I didn't know how the Chi in their system would affect them in the long term, but they seemed fine for now. The first warden said he would have people keep an eye on them. At the end of the day, I couldn't cure the blight, but I did give them a book on Chi. We found a clue on where the griffin eggs might be, sending the already frazzled wardens back into an uproar, and created 10 steel griffin golems for their use. There was a real gross eating competition to see who would get to own one. We left Weishaupt after a week of experiments. In that time, one of the griffin eggs hatched. It looked like a fluffy round chicken with 4 legs and stumpy wings, and made little chirping noises that everyone thought were adorable. The pups didn't like the fact their attention was taken away, so they sat on the poor chick. Everyone thought that was also adorable. It was Dogmeat that came to the chick's rescue, leading the pups away. The chick, not knowing what to do, followed the line of pups. Everyone lost their damn minds. I also gave the wardens enough mirror phones so every outpost could have at least one, as well as created a large server room that connected to my satellite system, allowing them to make calls without worry. I did have to teach a few of their mage on the runes and leave some schematics, but they seemed to understand after I taught them the ins and outs. I of course took the opportunity to copy as many books as they had. Their library was huge. It made the circle tower look tiny in comparison, and it made mine look childish at best. With the report of the 5th blight written and locked away, we bid Weishaupt goodbye and went north, deeper into Anderfels. Sky wanted to visit her family if any was still around, that is. Most dragons only stick together when they're young and weak, but they should be fully grown by now. Sky's mother was large, especially when she not so gently slammed into Mother Base mid-flight. I was about to unleash a barrage of fireballs into her face, but Sky said she would handle it. Watching 2 dragons fight in midair was a disorienting experience. They tend to grapple, spin, and dive at crazy speeds, slamming into one another and trying to slam the other into the ground. The fight didn't last long. While Sky's mother, Thunder Rain, was older and more experienced, Sky was in a league of her own, with her chi, enhanced strength, and size. She dominated. After parking Mother Base, we found Sky lying on top of her mother. She had the same mental ailment as Sky. It had to be the veil. Healing her, she grunted and huffed at me. She was smaller than her daughter, with silver scales and 4 horns that made her look like a ram. She had a heavy Scandinavian accent, whereas Sky's only sounded like that when she was upset. Thunder became extremely prideful when she realized that her daughter had become a great dragon. She invited us into her cave, which was filled with eggs and drakes. They didn't do anything, but they were eyeing us, waiting for Thunder to say anything. We were led to a treasure room that would probably send Telsa into a cardiac arrest. Gold, jewels, blades, armor, anything that gave a shine was stacked to the ceiling, and on one of the piles was an olden drake, just sitting there. Sky came over and rubbed her head against the elder drake, getting the older drake to rub back. Apparently, that was her father. Thunder Rain believed him valuable for giving her a daughter. There were other drake bones, which probably did the same in the past. We didn't say long, but we did get some information about Sky's sisters, and where they might be. I of course made her 2 humongous horn rings with some of her gold. She seemed to like it, checking the weight and balance before she nodded into the huge mirror I created for her. We left with a bit of gold and well wishes. You take me to the nicest of places, Theron joked. Returning to Ferelden, Telsa finally got a large enough plot of land that Morrigan was happy with and started badgering me to start making her island. Duncan, Theron, and Aidan were ordered to Soldier's Peak for further orders. Alistair and Alyssa left not long after, heading to High Ever to help bring order from Howe's occupation, Zevran going with him as extra protection. Alistair was still paranoid about assassins everywhere. So that left me and Dogmeat the only men in the house, and after I finished Morrigan's dream house, we hugged goodbye. There were some definite tears, but she would sooner gargle lava than admit it. She, Princess, and 4 of her pups, along with Dogmeat's T-Rex Tibia, flew off into the sunset. I of course was heading off as well. I've had a bit too much of theaters for a while, but I had to make one last stop. So, ya castle hunting or what? Lina asked as we explored the old rundown keep, because I think you can find better. At the moment, we were in the mountains of Ferelden, walking through the old fortress of Caer Oswin. Wah, look at this. Jack came over with an old suit of armor. It was mostly intact, a bit rusted, and missing a glove, but it was mostly there. I'm pretty sure I can make better armor than that, I teased. It's not about the armor, it's about the aesthetic. What kind of base doesn't have old-looking armor around? Is that really a thing? Ayla asked. Oh, my sweet Ayla, you haven't been inside an adventure guild yet. Armor, weapons, the bones of powerful beasts, it's meant to show off the members' deeds. Jack looked starstruck. And what does an old hunk of armor fit in all that? Serada asked, looking at an old mosaic that lost some of its glory. Exploration. Adventurers are men and women who travel the unknown, and bring back things long thought lost, she whispered with a mysterious undertone. I'm guessing that was your dream, Neria teased. Still is. We are going to live for a long time, there is plenty of time before that. So, if we're not castle hunting, why are we here? Dagna asked, putting an old banister into her bag of holding. Remember when I told you about how I'm from another dimension? I asked, walking up some stairs. Yeah, and, well, I don't think I was the first. And before me was what I was looking for, come to Daddy Handsome. Whoa, isn't that a thing? Ava deadpanned, looking at the bust in my hands. By human standards, he may not be your first pick, but I'm pretty sure his people would find him quite dashing. David Edward Anderson, Humanity's first Counselor POV. Counselor Anderson, Shepard has just arrived on the Citadel. My secretary's voice came over my comms. Thank you, Chris, send them in when they get here. Of course, Counselor. 2 years after that man's been dead, suddenly, he returns and according to rumors is now working for an organization he helped bring down. Too many things aren't adding up. I need to see him, see if it is really him, and not some clone or bot. It didn't take long for John to come striding into my chambers, not missing a beat just like before. I guess that's a good sign. Shepard, you look like shit. Part of his face was scarred and glowing, not a good sign. Feel like shit, sir. Well, at least he has his sense of humor. Good to see you back. I reached out my hand, getting a handshake. 1, 2, 3, 4 squeezes. Well, he knows our danger shake. 4 squeezes. Something happened. Need help. Have you got some food? You're looking a bit skinny. You've been AWOL for too long. He hummed. I've been sleeping for a bit longer than I wanted. Missed breakfast. Heavy injury. Needed to recover. Do you need me to get you something? Do you need extraction? No. I have some food back at the ship. Can't. Too many minders. Being tracked. Are you sure? Maybe a sandwich. Need backup. A full team. No. It's okay. The Normandy is fully stocked. Chakwas is watching my weight and Joker would make fun of me if I get chubbier than a man who can't walk. New Normandy, fully guarded. Chakwas is there and so is Jeff. Do not attack. Mind if I get a smoke? Don't move. I'm scanning you. Don't let me stop you. Go ahead. I walked over to my desk and pressed a few buttons, sealing my room, changing the opacity of my windows so no one could see inside, and activating every anti-tracking device the Alliance techs could shove in my office. I didn't know if it was perfect, but it made me feel better. The room was then screened by a beam of light, which gave me a reading of the man in front of me. Holy shit, Shepard, there was so much tech in him. I'm surprised he didn't attract every magnet in the Citadel. Are we clean? As best as I can make it. He just let out the longest sigh I have ever heard him release in my life and slumped onto my couch trying to be one with the furniture. Fuick. Son, what happened to you? I got spaced. He gave me a rundown on what happened, from the horrific retelling of being spaced over Altura, walking up in a secret terrorist base after being brought back to life, only for it to be sabotaged by one of its own members and sending an army of mechs to kill him, meeting the elusive man, meeting Muz Zora while investigating the disappearance of a human colony going by Freedom's Progress, finding proof that the Collectors, the boogeyman if the galaxy, were responsible, having to recruit a bunch of wildcards to go on a suicide mission to save the galaxy. Again, and it was about that time when he got my email. And how long ago was it since you woke up? I asked. He just gave me a long stare. A month, I think. God damn it, Shepard. You just described more combat than the normal soldier gets in a year. You can't push yourself like this. No one's doing anything, he argued. Nobody seems to care. Thousands, maybe even millions of humans are going missing, taken from their homes to God knows where, and never returning. You think I don't know that? Of course, I know. But I can't just send troops and ships into the terminus. I yelled back. Listen to me, you're not in this alone. I've been making calls and getting help, but the bureaucratic hell the Citadel seems to work on is slowing me down a great deal. But I was able to get you a meeting for the rest of the Council to quietly reinstate you into the Spectres. It's not perfect, but that should give you more freedom in Council space. When is the meeting? 10 minutes after entering my office. I opened my Omni tool. We got 4 minutes. Hey, you're not a clone, right? He gave me his trademark deadpan stare. It's a legitimate question. No. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm not a clone. Dr. Solus ran some tests and concluded that I know too much about myself, things I didn't put in my reports, and... Well, he waved his hand at me, secret codes, personal details. He did say a lot of my organs are cloned, though, as well as have enough implants to consider me a cyborg. He and Chakwas said I didn't have a mind-control chip or a bomb, but I still wanted someone with mechanical expertise to give me a once-over. Change my oil and whatnot, he joked. Good to see you back. It's okay to be back, he shrugged. Good, being too happy. Makes you lazy and love life, he finished. My room's holograms lit up showing the Council in all there. I wouldn't call it glory. We all need to hit the gym. Councillors, I greeted. Anderson, Shepard, Spiratus grunted, clearly not wanting to be here. Let's get this over with. Shepard, you wish to be reinstated into the Spectres, but we've gotten some rumors that you're working for Cerberus. Is this true? Not for, reluctantly, with, I'm investigating the disappearances and abductions of human colonies throughout the terminus, and since my bank account has been donated to the Citadel construction effort, I'm a bit strapped for creds. I'll have you know that the Shepard Memorial Park is very beautiful, Spiratus drawled. Have you found what has been doing the abductions? Am I Spectre? The councillors looked over at one another. It's not that simple, Shepard. You went missing only to show up with a terrorist organization funding you. How do we not know you're not compromised? Tevos asked. I slammed my hand on the table, stopping that line of thinking before it went anywhere. Don't you dare try and whitewash away your debt to him. He saved your lives. Don't pretend you were gonna be fine. If not for the Fifth Fleet, we would not be talking with you. The room went quiet. It was Spiratus who spoke first. Shepard, if you promise to keep a low profile and stick to the Terminus system, we might be willing to reinstate you as a Spectre. No, I countered. Being a Spectre means he tends to do dangerous things and go to many places. I won't have him tiptoeing around when he needs to stomp. Like Vermeer, Spiratus roared. Exactly like Vermeer. I'm not sure if you scrutinized Captain Kiraha's report, but Saren had a Krogan clone facility as well as an army of Geth, and just to sweeten the pot, a cure to the genophage. If you're about to tell me that he should have gently put him all to sleep, I'll call for a vote of no confidence. The growl I let out was involuntary, but it got my seriousness across. The vote would do nothing, but if the other races see the Council infight, they would lose confidence in us. You made your point, Anderson. Shepard, we'll reinstate you, but it will be quiet. We can't be seen or heard negotiating with a terrorist organization, Valen spoke up. What does that mean? No more reports? Shepard asked. Only at the end of your mission or as far as you can go, before Cerberus shows its true colors and you have to blow them up, I corrected. He took a deep breath and stood up straight, gave me a look. I nodded to, I accept your offer. It's good to have the council at my side. Good luck with your investigation, Shepard, and your quick end with your involvement with Cerberus, Tevos added, disconnecting the line. That went smoother than I expected, I sighed. Got pretty angry at the end there. They've been trying to run your name through the mud for years. To have the nerve to try and do it to your face was too much. I took a deep breath. You do know that making you a Spectre was just for show, right? Better to have them on my side than on my throat. True enough. Don't worry about them, I'll cover for. My door swung out, revealing a frazzled Chris. Chris, what's wrong? He knows better than to barge in here without it being an emergency. Sir, you weren't picking up your comms. There's something going on with the mass relay statue in the Presidium. What? It activated, sir. Shepard, I ordered. There's never a dull moment, is there? He joked, rushing out of the room. I grabbed my gun and armor and followed. John Shepard POV. Typical, been a Spectre for 30 seconds and the Citadel's exploding. Shepard, what's going on? People are losing their shit. Jack asked. I'm not sure how, but I'm pretty sure this is your fault, Garrus joked. I just got here. I know, you're a bit of a trouble magnet. I remember that time we walked through the Spectre store. Every grenade pin was following you around the room. That never happened. That's not what I tell everyone. He teased. As we ran into the Presidium, we ran into Miranda, who was more than likely spying on me, Grunt, who was looking at the Krogan statue, and Morden, who was meeting up with some contacts. The mini-mass relay was going crazy. Did that happen last time? I asked Garrus. No idea, was too busy puking out my guts, and destroying Geth. He answered. Suddenly huge metal fingers ripped through. A tear in space. The hell, was all I could mutter. The fingers slowly grip nothingness and tore reality apart, allowing its full metal body to come through. It didn't look like a Geth, but I'd been gone for some time. As it came through the hole it created, the tear behind it healed itself. I think that's a good thing. It just stood there for a second, almost looking lost before it locked its glowing orbs it called eyes with me. It suddenly shot out a beam at me, scanning. Do not be alarmed, scanning. Shepard, I tried to hack the machine, can't, not a machine, but was able to get a scan. It is using exotic energies. Morden rattled off. And that is? I don't know. Well, great. Scanning complete. Human cyborg, age 29, elevated heart rate. You need more fiber in your diet. What? The robot opened his chest, making Morden go crazy looking at his Omni tool, and pulling. A bowl of nuts and fruit, they looked fresh as it placed them in my hands. Eat, it ordered, before moving back to the mass relay. Morden was at my side scanning the food, before eating an apple slice. Fresh. Morden, any idea what that thing is, and why it has food in its chest? No idea, maybe a helper bot. No, too massive for that. Emergency, no, too slow. Battle mech, why would it have food? It's doing something, Garrus called out. Looking back at the bot, it proceeded to pull out a gate, but that wasn't the weird part. The gate was way longer than its chest. Space-time manipulation. Morden was going crazy, getting a little too close for my liking. Grunt took that moment to take the bowl of food from my hands. As the giant finished setting up the gate, I got a better look at it. Among its edges there were thousands of scribbles, some connected, others not. My brain was doing flips trying to understand any of it. Even Morden looked perplexed, stepping away from it. Just as the frame was finished, Anderson finally reached us. Shepard, report, he ordered. Unknown mech came through a tear in reality, and gave me a bowl of food. It's good, Grunt added, munching on a mango. What's it doing? He asked, pointing his gun at it. Building something. The mech took that moment to pull out a sheet of metal that perfectly matched the gate. I have no idea what that is. A mirror. As the metal piece was put in place, nothing happened. The mech turned to Morden, scanning him. Unknown species. Please step away from the interdimensional portal, it ordered in its monotone voice. It's an interdimensional portal, I answered. Yes, I can see that, Shepard. Why is it building an interdimensional portal? Good question. Hey mech, why are you building this thing? I screamed. I was trying to ignore Anderson's incredulous look. You wanted to know, I muttered. My master wanted to visit the beach dimension, where the waves are just right and the ladies wear skimpy clothes. What? Ah, this isn't the beach dimension, I corrected. It just gave me a long look, before moving its head to Jack, who was wearing a literal strap for a shirt, and over to Miranda, who was still in her skin-tight jumpsuit. Are you sure? It asked. Do you see a beach around here? The nerve of this thing. It pointed to the water. He pointed to Jack and Miranda, skimpy clothes. Things are checking out. Two scantily clad women and water does not make a beach dimension, I think. Listen, do I come to your workplace and tell you how to do your job? Who programmed this thing with so much sass? No, well, how about that? It opened its chest again, this time taking out a glowing reactor that radiated power. Shepard, Morden backed up to me. That's a lot of power it's giving off. Too much power for something so small. For the first time since I met him, Morden's speech was slow enough for me to keep up. What are we looking at? That little thing could probably power the Normandy for a couple of decades, Morden answered. Oh, that's a lot. The mech placed the overpowered battery into a slot in the mirror's frame. The scribbles that covered the frame lit up, and the mirror imploded inward into dark nothingness. Before anyone said anything, a dog came bouncing through. It was big. It looked more like a wolf. It gave a sniff of the air and snapped his gaze right at me. I don't know why, but it felt like it was judging me, reading my very soul. Dog meat, don't run ahead like that. A voice came from the portal as a woman with hair as red as blood, skin the color of copper, and the body of a fighter. She was wearing a bikini that matched her hair, and thick sunglasses, with her most striking feature being her horns and tail. She was holding a large colorful parasol and sunscreen lotion. She looked over to us as everything went quiet. I don't think this is the beach dimension. Nick, she called back through the portal. Right behind you, sweetie, right behind you. His salacious tone quickly died out as he came face to face with the rest of us. The man was large, muscular, light tan, with black hair, and glowing blue eyes that made the elusive man's look like cheap dime store rip-offs. He was wearing a non-buttoned-up Hawaiian shirt, beach trunks, and had a picnic basket in his right arm. I don't think this is the beach dimension. ..